Michael, thanks for being on the show today, my friend. We've known each other for a couple of years. You're a very successful real estate investor, and I want you to take me back before any of this. What did your life look like? The job, the day-to-day, before real estate was really even on your radar?
Yeah, thanks, Keith. So, I started in real estate about eight, maybe more than 8 years ago now. Um, I had a job where it was unsustainable for me. So I was traveling every week. Every week I flew. I'm here in Houston, Texas, and I would fly from Houston to another city every week. So I was only home on weekends and holidays for like over 8.5 years,
Mm.
which is crazy now that I
Doing
say
what?
it out loud to myself. I had a corporate job. I was working in telecom,
Okay.
and the job was fine. Like my wife was in school at the time, and she said you can do whatever you want while you're working, but when I graduate and I start working, you need to come home. And so I didn't really want another job. I'd kind of been burned out a few times. So I
Yeah.
started building my real estate portfolio while I was traveling every week. And so
Okay.
when people tell me I don't have time to do this, I really like laugh at that because I did
No.
it while I wasn't physically in Houston other than on
Yeah.
weekends, you
Yeah.
know? Um, so I worked for a company and I helped scale it from about 180 million in revenue to about 1.1 billion in revenue. And then we
Wow.
went public, and the fruits of the proceeds of going public were not shared the way they were promised because,
Mhm.
wake up call, guys, they never are. You
Yeah.
can't get rich from a job. My dreams of, I thought, like the American middle class is taught, like get a education, get a good job, and then if you work really hard, you'll get rich, you'll get a retirement, you'll get a pension. Guys, there's no more pensions. Like there's a few out there, but if you don't have one, you're not getting one.
That's right.
And your boss is never going to make you rich. A job just pays your bills. That's all it does. In fact, most of the wealth that was created, I understood, was from owning tangible assets. So in this
Mhm.
case, it was equity in the company we were building that I was promised a share of when we went public. That share was not
Never happened.
portioned the way it was supposed to. So I said, okay, I got to own assets of my own. And what can I do? Right? I don't have a college degree. I'm not rich. My family is not a real estate family, but I found that real estate was so much easier than my full time job. So
How
much
how
easier.
long how far were you in your W-2? How long had you been employed when you realized that real estate could actually be a feasible path, even if you
Probably
were,
about 4 or 5
traveling?
years into my job. About four or
Okay.
5 years. So it probably took me about 3 years of consistently doing real estate.
And
Um,
what was it? Well, what was it specifically though, like in the very beginning that made you say like, wait, I can do this. I could do this real estate thing in the very
Man, it
beginning.
was the big thing was watching podcasts and
Okay.
seeing people that were, I mean, just seeing the gamut of people who were higher paid and more well off than me doing it, but then seeing people that were like less paid, less well off, like watching shows like yours, like Bigger Pockets and a lot of other shows
Hmm.
where they were just bringing on everyday people who were talking about doing their second, third, fourth, fifth deal or how they built their portfolio. And so I knew it was possible, right? And then I would go to meetups here in Houston on the weekends when I could. Meetups are free, podcasts are free. Buy a few books. I mean, if you look behind me, for those of you watching this, if you look behind me, I have a shelf of books here. I mean, books cost 15, $20.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a whole bunch of money
While
to
we're on
start
the
building
topic,
them.
what's your favorite book?
Oh, it's got this is so cliche, but it's the first one, and it's the first one I read, and it's the last one I read. It's that Purple Bible, baby. It's
Yep.
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yep.
It's Rich Dad Poor Dad. Let's
Very
see.
cool. Is there a
I have
book
the
that you
original
like
one.
to do you give that away as a gift, like when you have people over for dinner, or you have somebody who's interested in real estate investing, or do
Dude,
you?
I've given away so many. I had a box of them at one time I gave away. I have an original copy somewhere. I can't find it because I keep showing it off to people. But I have an original one wrapped in plastic that I
Nice.
can't find now.
Is it signed?
No, unfortunately, that one's not signed. But
Okay,
I am going to go meet when I go meet with Robert Kiyosaki. I'm unwrapping that one and having him sign it.
good deal.
Can't find it right now, but Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's the foundational. That's kind of where a lot of
Yeah.
us all start. So I was reading books, was traveling for work, was going to meetups, um, and I had a belief issue, like an issue with my belief systems. And so I saw people flipping, doing the BRRRR method, investing in multifamily, and I thought, well, I can't do that. I got to aim lower. So my first
Hmm.
deal was a house hack. So, and
What
I
was your
think
biggest fear? Why was that story in your head that you have to aim lower?
cuz I didn't have a lot of money at the time.
Okay. How old were you?
And to be honest with you, if you would have been talking to me back then, and you would have asked me, why do you think you have to do a house hack? I probably wouldn't have a good answer for you. It was
Hmm.
all mindset issues.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
so my first deal was a house hack, which I think is great, especially people that don't have kids. Maybe they're not married. I got lucky, man. My wife was perfectly fine with a house hack. Um, and, you know, we, we were going to buy a duplex, triplex, or fourplex. So for those of you who don't know, you can use a standard conventional loan for up to 4 units, right?
Mhm.
For some reason, they consider up to 40 units residential. Um, so before you go buy your big, beautiful dream home, maybe consider buying a 2, 3, or 4 unit, renting out the
Yes.
other units, because they also count the revenue, the rent that those units can bring in, and qualifying you for the loan before you even buy the property. So for some people, it's easier to buy if you're buying a 2 to 4 unit instead of your dream home. So we
Yep.
started with that.
And
We were
most
running out of time.
people preferably need to do this before they're married because they're probably not going to have an awesome wife who's super down for this. So
Yeah.
potentially
Yeah.
consider doing this before you get married because I know for a fact Miranda would say absolutely not. But that's just for us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. And so if your lifestyle, but if you've got, a wife, kids, animals, stuff like that, it's less likely to fit your lifestyle.
Yeah.
But for us, we were motivated. We didn't have any kids. We didn't have any pets, and so it made sense for us. And so after we were running up on a time constraint because of her school and everything, so we had to buy something quicker. So we switched from looking for a 2 to 4 unit to just a large house with a lot of bedrooms, and where the numbers made sense for us to rent out by the room. So we went super house hack. We bought a large house in an older community and a rougher part of town, and we rented out by the room.
Well,
And so my original thought was, hey, if I can cover half of my mortgage and expenses, that'd be great. I'd be miles ahead of everybody else that pays their full mortgage. But through the miracle of real estate, I was living there for free. I just rented out a couple bedrooms, and it covered my mortgage and my cost of living. I was
how many
broke.
bedrooms
And
was the house and how many did you rent out?
it was a 5 bedroom home,
Okay.
and at the most we rented out 3 bedrooms, and we were charging
Oh,
between $600 and $700 a bedroom, and that covered our mortgage and a portion of our utilities. And
a
that
full mortgage,
was
like
like,
PITI.
I don't remember, it was 8 or 9 years ago. I just remember that we were covered. I don't know, maybe it was, I don't know, 1400, fifteen
Oh,
hundred, something like
great,
that.
dude. That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, this was some time ago when values and rates were lower.
Yeah.
And I
How'd you
just
find it?
remember.
This
How did
house?
I find it?
Was
Oh,
it a good
easy
deal?
peasy, easy peasy, right on market. It was
Okay.
on market. We were first time home buyers, um, and we. This is why it's important to have people in your network. We found a grant program for first time home buyers. So we were given money by a program because we had just got married and we're first time home buyers. So these programs change all the time, and they're
Mm-hmm.
regional. They're not even state level, they're regional. So you have to talk to lenders that know these. And when the money runs out for the program, they come up with some new program. The rules may change, but whatever the case was at that time, I ended up getting paid at the closing table to buy the house. I got an $800 check at closing. So I got paid to
Nice.
buy a house that I got to live in for free.
Yes.
Amazing
This is
first
how to
deal.
do it.
Yes, amazing first deal. And so this was like a turbocharger on our financial freedom, because most of our salaries that we are paid are designed just to provide you housing and food and a car and a little bit of money left over to have fun with. Your
Yeah.
salary is not equated to what it really costs for you to go and do that labor. You're not being compensated for being awesome. You're being compensated based on the cost of living. Your employers want to give you just enough to pay your
Yeah.
bills and come back. And so when you don't have housing expense or car expense, if you can cut those things, you become rich. I remember at one point my boss, the director of my department, or well, vice president at this time of my department, he was making $300,000 a year, and he was saying, "I just can't get enough breathing room to put money into an IRA."
Wow.
You know, and so that's when I realized I don't want to be like these people. I don't want, and he's like in his 60s, has no hair on his head. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And that's when I realized I didn't want to be like these guys, because there was a clear path for me to stay in this career as long as I wanted to, of
Yeah.
traveling and doing and working in this industry. And so we lived in that house for 4.5 years, almost completely free of any expenses.
Cool.
And it was great. We didn't have any problems with our roommates. You do a really good job at tenant selection, roommate selection. It was really fine. They were young working professionals who were either in master's programs or just got out. And also, I learned this. Now, don't quote me on this. Check with a real estate broker. But I learned that when you buy a 1 to 4 unit and you're living on property, guess what? You get to discriminate. You get
Ooh,
to discriminate because you're
I didn't know
living
that.
there. And what does that mean? That means you can say, this person's lifestyle, they like to
I
drink
don't
and
like this
party and
person.
live like a frat
Yeah.
house. So I don't want them in my house. And this
Interesting.
person over here, they like to work all night and then stay up all day and play loud music, and they do all this crazy stuff. I don't
Yeah.
want them in my house. So when you're living on property from a 1 to 4 unit, you get to be very selective. I was
Mm.
told fair housing laws don't apply. Now, again, I was told this by a broker. Please verify this with a broker in your
Yeah.
area. But if you're house hacking, you get to decide who you live with. And so for us, it was great. Okay, we furnished the bedrooms. Everything was great. Fast forward 4.5 years. We're living rent free, mortgage free. We start doing the BRRRR method, BRR, right? Buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. Made famous by Brandon Turner, Bigger Pockets.
Yep.
And we were buying rental properties, just doing direct mail. That was the thing back then, right? Today, there's lots of ways that we can find deals, and the BRRRR method really worked then. Now I can get into this, but it doesn't work today
Mm.
in my market, at least where I live. The BRRRR
What's the
method
biggest
does
reason
not
why
work
not?
today. What's that?
What's the biggest reason why not?
uh, Taxes, interest rates, and insurance. And
Okay.
here in Texas, we had an unpredictable increase in interest rates and insurance and taxes. The whole
Yeah.
country is dealing with the same rates, but
Yeah.
we had some regional issues. They're starting to come down now,
Good.
but the numbers don't work for the BRRRR method here. Now, I know some people in some Midwest markets that are in masterminds that you and I are in that are killing it doing the BRRRR method,
Yeah.
but for most major metros, it just doesn't work today. But I started buying single family rentals, doing the BRRRR method. So it's like I was wholesaling to myself. I was the end buyer. Okay.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the way, um, I joined a multifamily coaching program at the height of, or right before the crash of multifamily. And
Mm.
so I spent a lot of money and a lot of time getting educated and going to the National Apartment Association, getting certifications. I passively invested into some multifamily deals. And then that market was crashing right as I was getting ready to liquidate, sell all my
What
single
year are we
family.
at right now?
Uh, this is like 23, yeah,
Okay.
22, 23, something like that.
Okay.
And so I paid a bunch of money, a lot of money, and I spent a lot of time. In order to do multifamily, it's like a 1 to 2 year program, intensive training, walking properties, getting certifications from the. If you want to do it right, I mean, there's people that just do it and get
Yeah.
into it. But I was trying to do it right. I was going to sell all my single family and get into that. Market corrects. Everybody keeps saying it's just going to be another year and it'll be back. Just going to be another year, it'll be back. And so I'm very fortunate that I didn't jump into it at that time. It was mostly caused. Now there's lots of multifamily deals that are doing great because they had the right financing. For them, it was an issue with their adjustable rate mortgages. So a lot of those syndicators kind of
Hmm.
brought it on themselves. Some of them
Yeah,
got
yeah,
hit
yeah.
by taxes and insurance, but a lot of them kind of brought it on themselves with risky structures. There's plenty of multifamily deals out there today performing well, but there's also a lot that are in pain right now. So what do I do? BRRRR method doesn't work anymore. Multifamily's on pause. It will come back. People need apartments. People need
Yep.
housing. It's just right now, it's not for me. So what
Yeah.
do I do? I don't listen to what the big gurus on stage are saying. I don't listen to what people, there's a lot of people out there that are selling courses, and you probably have seen this, Keith, that they made these courses 15, 20 years ago, and
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
still
yeah.
selling them, and the market has changed. I mean, you use AI, you use all kind of modern techniques, so you understand this. The things that you teach today didn't exist 5, 7, 10 years ago.
Right.
And so,
What
so
what's the
I,
worst on that topic? What's the worst advice that you hear gurus keep repeating right now? That
what's the
you just
worst advice that I keep hearing being repeated?
yeah, face palm.
Uh, Go after foreclosures, pre
Mm,
foreclosures, go door knocking, cold call yourself, manually yourself. I see a lot
yeah,
of these things that are being regulated away or don't work, or
yeah.
there's just more cost effective ways to get deals these days.
Hmm.
And a lot of people just, if the market shifts for a year or two, they don't want to go redo their whole training program, and then the market shifts
Yep.
2 years later, and they don't want to do that, so they're selling the same thing.
Yeah.
And so, what was my next move? Well, I just kind of figured out what worked through my network, through pulling county records and looking at stuff. And I found land home packages. So, this is for anybody listening who doesn't know what this is. This is where you buy land, you buy a new construction mobile home, not a used one, you install it on the land, and then you sell it. And if you do it right, it qualifies for FHA financing. So, for anybody who's listening that doesn't understand that, the largest pool of buyers that will ever
Hmm.
exist is people who qualify for FHA financing. So, that means that it's easy to sell. And
Yep.
so, while here
You're
in Houston, go
in
ahead.
that process. You're detitling it, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
You're
There's a
attaching
whole
that.
process that we got to do correctly in order for it to qualify for FHA.
Dude, I love mobile homes,
Yeah,
especially in Texas, because you
man,
own
the
or finance.
margins are insane.
Yeah.
Um,
Are you a
and
dealer?
so, what's that?
Are you a dealer?
I have access to a dealer's license, and I'll be getting my own dealer's license soon.
Cool.
Um,
That makes
and
it
so,
so much bigger.
what we do is so days on market here in Texas are like, it got crazy. I tried to sell a rental, and it stayed on the market for like 8 or 9 months. And
Yeah.
during that
Oh,
time, you have to pay the mortgage, pay the power and water. We had security
no.
cameras, all that stuff. We never thought that that would be like the reality, but hey, things slow down. And so, while days on market here in Houston are still 90 plus days, it won't be like that forever, but it is now. I'm operating in pockets around the country where days on market are 14 days,
Hmm.
25 days,
Hmm.
37 days, that these mobile homes, these land home packages come up on the market and then sell like that.
Good.
There's not a lot of pot. You can't, don't just like take some of your uncle's land, put a mobile home on it, and try to sell it because you heard this on a podcast. But the margins are insane. The average flip profit right now in Houston is about 30 grand. Okay, maybe 40. For me, that's not enough juice on the to squeeze on a flip. A flip's a lot of
Hmm.
work. Okay.
Hmm.
These mobile home land package deals, we're having 60, 70, 80, $90,000 spreads on
Good
them,
deal.
which is crazy. And it's
These are brand
so
new mobile
easy.
homes, right? Direct from the
These are
manufacturer.
brand new. Yes, you're buying them from the factory. These are
What's your
brand
favorite
new.
brand?
They don't qualify for FHA financing if they're used. So don't go buy a used one and put it on land and fix it up and expect it to qualify for FHA. And the rehab, like the development, the building process, which when you're flipping a home, we would call it the rehab process. Here it would be like the development or the building process, is
Hmm.
so easy. So
Hmm.
many less moving parts, so fewer vendors, so few things to go wrong. And we're doing it in areas where we have proven comps. We're not going to be a cowboy and go out there and create our own
Yeah.
marketplace. We're going to go where it's already happening. So we know the community wants mobile homes. The county doesn't care about it. Like, the permitting and processing is super easy, simple, and done by a third party. So
Yeah.
This is nowhere near as complicated as I found as fully rehabbing single family homes in the city. And we don't have problems like people breaking into houses, squatters, dishonest people, the neighbors watch your land. I mean, the culture is different in
Yeah.
these markets. It's a great thing to work with. The realtors are friendly, everybody's happy, and your buyers, your end buyers, when you go to sell it, they're appreciative. They're
Yeah.
appreciative. It is a complete night and day. So I'm really liking that niche right now.
Dude, and a
Um,
lot of people have a big misconception of mobile homes. By the way, mobile homes is like the old term, manufactured homes is the new term. There's a year, right, where they like flipped and they said, after this year, it's going to be considered a manufactured home.
yeah, I tried to. I used to say manufactured home a lot, and then people didn't understand what I thought.
Yeah,
They
nobody
thought
knows
more
what it
like,
is. People still
yeah,
say, I'm
they
here to tell
thought
you,
like,
dude, some
is
of
it a
these,
house made in a factory and they drop it with a crane? I'm like, no, it's a mobile home,
it's a
right?
mobile
You
home.
know,
It's a new age mobile home, and I'm here to
yeah.
tell you, dude, these new age mobile homes, they're pretty darn nice.
Oh my goodness, I did not know how I hadn't been in a mobile home since I was a kid. And
Yeah,
then I got into this niche and I saw what they were. There was a period of time when I was a kid where we lived in a mobile home
yeah,
before my parents built a house. And so these things have marble countertops, stainless steel appliances. They
yep,
can have sheetrock in them
yep.
if that's what your submarket prefers. But here's the thing: they can have giant sliding glass doors. But here's the
Some of them,
thing:
they don't even feel like mobile homes. They feel like
I've
they're
seen
a
in
normal home.
the interior photos do not look like mobile homes on these
Yeah.
nicer ones. Yeah, yeah, you would not. Most people would not
Then
believe.
you
And the funny thing,
add on your deck, you add something on the front, and it totally changes the layout, so it no longer looks like the rectangular mobile home that we all have
yeah,
come
that's
to
right.
know. You add on these decks, and it just looks fabulous. Really.
Yeah, yeah, it does. It looks really nice. But remember, unless you're going to be living in it, we try not to take our own brains and put it in the head of our end buyers or our tenants. And so
That's right.
we just look at the comps. And if in this area they have poured concrete driveways or gravel driveways, do they have big decks or just stairs? Do they have fancy landscaping or do they have no landscaping at all? Because some pockets that we've operated in, they have beautiful poured concrete. They do a pedestal, which means they take the power line underground into the house instead of running it over the air. And in some of these markets, they have beautiful landscaping all the way around, wrap around decks. In other markets, it's gravel, overhead power, steps, maybe a small porch, no
Yeah.
landscaping at all because you're in the countryside. So you just got to go look at the sales comps for the last 12 months within 1 to 3 miles of your subject property of wherever you want to build these things. And you have to do what if you like sheetrock, but the whole area has that old batten board stuff going on with the vinyl strips. That's what you got to go with. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of up to us to match up the expectations of the market with our product. We can go a little bit nicer if we want, but you don't want to try to blow it out of the water. This isn't like Flip or Flop or some TV show or
Yeah.
something. We're not trying to set new record comps or anything like
Yeah.
that. We're just giving the right consumer the thing they want at the right price.
Now, are
And
you
there's
selling
not a
100% of
ton of
these?
competition. What's that?
Are you selling 100% of these with FHA financing, or do you do anything else?
Oh yeah, well we put it up the FHA conventional whatever they can get, but yeah, FHA is like the number one thing people want. Depending on what area of the country you're in, there's also something called a USDA loan as
Yeah.
well that'll qualify. But I've just simplified my process over the years. You know what I do? I call 3 realtors that have recently sold a similar product in that area. And I just say, hey, what do you think this is going to sell for? And do you want to be my
Mhm.
realtor? Now, I'm licensed as a realtor here in Texas, but again, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. I'm
That's
doing
right.
bigger and better things, and I'm just trying to turn that deal quickly. And so I just let a realtor handle all that stuff. And full disclosure, I'm here in Houston, Texas. I'm not doing these in Houston, Texas.
Mm.
I'm doing these. There's pockets, a handful of pockets around the country where this works. For example, Florida, your home state. There's some places
Yes.
where this works.
There's some
Again,
laws changing too to make this even better for you
that's right. That's
in the
right. It
near
just got
future, very
easier
near
for
future.
financing, and a couple of other things changed recently. Also, there's some pockets in South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, where there's a really high demand. They're going really quickly.
Hmm.
Um, I just recommend that anybody who's looking to do this, just be nimble, understand your comps, because these pockets come and go, right? An area that is hot for mobile home land packages today, after you do 2 or 3 deals, may not be hot again. Like the pocket may have shifted to a different highway or a different, we're doing most of these within 45 minutes to an hour and a half of major cities. So
Okay.
in these cities, the average housing cost could be 400, 500, $600,000. And so people are willing to drive 45 minutes to an hour to buy something that's $250,000,
Yeah.
$300,000, and so these pockets shift over time. And there's a guy who has taught me how to do this. So everything I do in life, I get a mentor for. Single family, I had a mentor for. Multifamily, I had a mentor. And now the mobile home land packages, I have a mentor. And so I have a guy with gray hair on his head who's been doing this for years. And every 3 to 5 years, the pockets where this work shifts. And so his business moves with it. So you
Yeah.
can do this completely remotely. You
Yes.
know, yeah, it can
I'm
be
a
done
big fan of
completely
remote things.
remotely.
A lot of people don't realize that the reason why most people do not do remote is because of fear. And the fear is lack of information. Well, how do you fix the lack of information? You find local boots on the ground and you systemize your process. This eliminates any fear or doubt of the unknown, because now you don't have unknown variables, you have known constants. And you just, McDonald's works in any city, even though it's not the
Right.
headquarters of that city, right?
Th-
So you're kind of creating little franchises wherever you go. This is how we
That's
built our
right.
model.
And for anybody who might have doubt about this model in their mind about, well, can I do it remotely? Let me share a little tip on how we do this. Before you even buy the land and start the process, you talk to realtors in that area who have sold similar product in the area. And we say, hey, I want you to be my realtor. This thing's not ready yet. I'm going to pay you your full commission, but here's what I'm going to need you to do. Every so often, I need you to go to the job site and FaceTime me or send me videos of something. If a contractor says septic
Yep.
tank is installed, septic system is working, he sends me a video on his phone. I'll call that realtor. Hey, can you go out there and send me a video? See if what he said is done and out there. I've
Yeah.
never had a contractor do it on mobile homeland packages, do it or say it's done and then not do it. I've had that happen on single family rehabs where I'm
No
rehabbing a
lie.
house. Yes, where they say it's done, pay me, and then it's not done. They're like, well, when you paid me, I was going to use some of that money to finish this, and they
Yeah,
just
no.
wanted to get their next draw, their next chunk of money
We even
quicker.
had a small case of fraud, $2,000, $3,000. They used Nano Banana. They took a photo, used Nano Banana AI to renovate the room with this material. Looked beautiful.
Wonderful.
Passed the sniff test. Payment was processed. Then somebody walked the house. Keith, I thought this was freshly renovated. Yeah, it is. It's beautiful, isn't it? No, looks like garbage. What do you mean? Are you at the right house? Can you send me some photos? Send me some pictures. Send me some videos. Sure enough, the contractor had absolutely screwed us. So I also use the same thing. I'm finding a lot of parallels that I actually didn't know about our businesses, where I actually use realtors to be like a low-level project manager as well, more like a third-party verification, validation, whatever you want to call it, just to make sure that people are being, honest.
Yeah. Whenever I was doing a lot of single family rehabs near me, I could go manually. But whenever I started to do them further away from my house, I had to learn a system of what you do using realtors. And realtors are fine. They're already out driving around
Yep.
anyway. Their job is in the field. It costs them nothing. And they're just excited to get your listing and for you to not haggle over their commission.
Yeah.
And so I've never had a contractor on the mobile home land packages side. It's a kind of a really small world. It's reputational driven. Guess what? These people are licensed by the state. The mobile home installer, the guy who does a septic. If you're drilling a well, if you don't have city water, you're drilling a well. These guys are licensed by the state, right? But when we're getting a sheetrock, a painter, a siding guy, a lot of these people for minor plumbing or electrical work, you might use
Yeah.
like a local guy.
Just
A lot of
handyman.
these people are not licensed by the state. There's no mechanism for you to report them or standard for them to be held to. But a lot of these people they have licenses from the state. And so I found that they're more reputable. It's a small world. Everyone knows everybody, and they all do a really good job so far.
Yep.
But I still have that realtor go out and walk behind them.
Good. I like that double check there. I want to pull out from the business here and talk a little bit more about you as a person. I want to completely just set money off the table for a side, and I want you to tell me what your definition of success is. What does
My
success look like
my
for you?
definition of success is how many things do I want to do that I can do? Maybe not necessarily that I do actually do, but can I do the things that I want to do when I want to do them with the people I want to do them with? That's
Hmm.
my definition of success. And I used to keep track of this measurement called financial runway. I don't know what you call it, financial runway. It's how many months can I cease to labor and then my life still be taken care of. And I
Mm-hmm.
lost count once the number got into the years, but that was a really fun metric to track success.
Yeah.
But for me, I enjoy travel, I enjoy fine food, but I'm not super materialistic. I live in a pretty basic home. I drive a moderate car. I'm not living in $1 million mansion. I'm not driving a six-figure car.
Yeah.
And so it was never that kind of important to me. What was important to me is I had this I had this thought hit me the first time I went to Asia, and I spent 3 months in Asia at one point, and I was flying back over the Pacific, and I thought, wow, the average American gets 2 weeks of vacation a year, right? And so it would take them, what is that, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. It would take them 12 years to
Mm-hmm.
experience what I experienced in 1 year, in 3 months, right?
Yeah.
Because I control my own time, my own schedule, my own money. And so I thought like a wave came over me of a little bit of sadness because I thought, wow, if I had worked a job, I would die of old age before I could go see all the places I wanted to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. But with the life that I've chosen, being an entrepreneur, being self-employed, being a real estate investor, I can go do all these. I can get 12 years of travel out in 3 months of
Yeah.
what it would take the average American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I very much subscribe to that. Me and Miranda, we usually take one trip a month. We average about 10 to 12 trips a year, and some of the times they're not big trips. We're going to Nashville, Tennessee next week, and the month after that we're going to Atlanta, Georgia. After that, probably somewhere in the Keys, here in Florida. So some of them are just quick jaunts, 6-10 hours from where we are. But we also like to do international stuff as well. Go to the Bahamas, go to Dominican Republic, go to Mexico. I think it's important to spend time with your wife and kids, especially your kids while you have them at home. What is one thing that you are working on in your life or your business that you're really excited about? One thing that you're really fired up.
My podcast, it's gone from okay to good.
Sweet.
Yeah, my podcast, the Get Wealth Show, for anybody who's interested in following it, and we're
Yeah.
gonna have Keith on there shortly as well. So I'm sure within, I don't know, a couple of weeks you'll be able to go on there and see Keith's episode. But I love the podcast. I love this idea. I heard somebody say this. Who did I hear saying about this? Somebody said that um, they want to measure how many years after they pass from this earth do people. They said you died two deaths. The first one is when you die. The second one is the last time your name is spoken.
Hmm.
And so that kind of left a mark on me that I want something for my grandchildren and great grandchildren to go see. And so I want something that can help other people, and I want there to be a length of time well beyond my death. I don't know what that is. Probably going to leave all my money to some sort of charity or foundation. We'll find some cause. My wife came over here as an international student from overseas, and so we like the idea of leaving. And there's so many smart kids that want to
Yeah.
come here for school, but they don't have the financial means to do so, and they can't get student loans if they're not U.S. citizens. So I was
Yeah.
thinking some kind of foundation that would help highly qualified people overseas come over here and go to school. I don't know what
Cool.
it is yet, but I'm working on some kind of legacy play. But for sure, I'm leaving all my money to charity. I'm not giving all my money to my kids.
Yeah.
Uh,
Let's talk
it,
about that just for a minute, actually. I love that you said that. This is super controversial, and I'm going to go ahead and lean into this. I
let's go.
am of the opinion, let's say that, let's just talk about average ages of mortality. Okay. We're talking 75 years old for men, I believe, in the United States. You're 75 years old. How old is your child? Typically 20 to 30 years less than you. So we're talking they're in their 40s to 50s. Well, I believe that if your son or daughter has not gotten financial literacy, they are not fiscally responsible by the time they are 40 to 50 years old, and you dump a butt ton of money on them, you are going to ruin your child as your last act before you see the other side. I hate that. And I think that we should be spending the time teaching our children about money and business and people and sales and marketing and good skills, to be effective in their own right, so that they're not reliant on our death for them to become financially well
Yeah,
off.
you don't want to turn your kids into a bunch of waiters, meaning they're waiting around for you to die. And we're in perfect alignment on that. I totally agree as well. If someone's not successful by the time you pass away, dropping money on them will not help them.
Yeah.
Anyone who doesn't believe that or wants to challenge that, go look at the results of people who win the lottery, right? Because wealth is a muscle that we have to exercise and build up and grow. And people that get handed a lot of money very quickly, that don't know how to use and work wealth, it almost always destroys them. And when they've burnt through it all, they're left a worse person than when before the money came along for them.
Yeah.
So for me, my idea of generational wealth is bringing my kids into this world and having a financial education every step of the way, because schools don't teach it, society doesn't teach it. It's mostly learned at home. And I come from a poor family. And
Mhm.
so for me, I had to go out and find mentors and resources to learn about wealth. I'll be passing that along to my kids much more than any sum of money.
That's right. We've talked about a lot of things. I like our topic right now. If a listener remembers only one thing from our entire conversation today, what would you want it to be?
Man, go get wealth. Stop building someone else's wealth and go get your own wealth.
Hmm.
A job is not going to get you rich, as we talked about in the beginning. It's just not. It pays your bills, it doesn't create wealth. Owning or controlling assets is the only thing that is going to get you what you want in life. Not kissing up to your boss, not working a couple more hours at your job. The only thing that's going to do it is to own and control assets. And for most of us, our only opportunity to do that is through real estate.
Yeah, good stuff. For people who want to find you, connect, work with you, where do you want people to go?
Well, you can find me on Instagram. I'm at Michael B. Someone, all one word, Michael B. Someone. Anywhere there's podcasts, you can type in the Get Wealth Show, find the Get Wealth Show, watch me more there. But, and I'm only doing this because no one's abused it yet. I do give out my cell phone number on shows. Okay, so please don't call me, text me first, because I get spam calls just like everybody else. But
Yeah,
my
man.
phone number is 832-301-9672. Shoot me a text if you have any questions or if you need to be pointed in the right direction with any resources. And again, no one's abused it yet, so I'm still giving it out
Don't be
once.
the one.
Yeah.
But definitely, that's awesome. I'm glad that you did that. You guys should. Michael is a wealth of knowledge, and you should definitely save him as a contact in your phone.
Yeah, thanks, Keith.
Cool.
I love being on the show, and I can't wait to have you on mine.
Thank you, brother. Man, I love you very much. Thank you for sharing all of this stuff. It's very encouraging for people, I think, especially the ones who are in the W-2 wanting to make that transition to build wealth, build financial freedom, spend more time with their family, go on trips, that sort of thing. So thanks for coming on the show today, sharing some of your wisdom. Super appreciate you, my friend.
Yep, thanks, Keith.
Real estate isn't magic, it's a skill. And the people who win long term are the ones that keep stacking the reps. That means learning, analyzing, staying patient, and making good decisions. If you want to keep building that skill with us, make sure to subscribe and send this to someone who needs to hear it, because I know you know someone that needs to. Anyways, that's all for today. Take care.